Hello, this is Brian Scuttle of Sonic Cinema, and I have a little bit of a double feature of reviews for you. I never did write a print review of 2007's Enchanted. Part of that was because of the fact that I think I might have for the mailing list at the time, but it wasn't necessarily long enough to really justify posting onto Sonic Cinema. And so what I wanted to do, my wife and I actually just watched Enchanted as well as Disenchanted, the sequel that just came on to Disney Plus this past week. And so what I wanted to do was I kind of wanted to tie both movies into one quick take review. And we'll start with Enchanted, which is directed by Kevin Lima. Came out in 2007, has Amy Adams as the Princess Giselle, who finds herself, after finding her true love, her Prince Charming, in the land that she came from, she is banished by an evil queen and finds herself in Manhattan and into the life of Patrick Dempsey as a divorce lawyer, and they come to fall in love. And it basically, you have musical numbers, you have moments where the live action movie becomes a Disney fairy tale movie, and is a very it's a very interesting take on the Disney princess narrative because of the fact that it's a fish out of water, taking the princess out of her reality and putting her into our own, which I think is something that's always pretty interesting to see happen in films. And this was the movie that made Amy Adams a bankable name and a star, and rightfully so. She is absolutely wonderful in this film. Patrick Dempsey as the divorce lawyer is really strong. Even better is James Marsden as Prince Edward. And then you have Susan Sarandon, Timothy Spall, Idina Menzel. And it's a really charming movie. The songs are really lovely. The musical set pieces that Lima puts on are extremely good. And it's just such a charming movie. It's a wonderful movie. I can kind of see how it was kind of the jump start of this new era of Disney princess movies from Disney. And I wonder that whether it was kind of the inspiration for them to do more of the live action remakes of their earlier film, of the other films, because it does kind of show that type of story could work in a live action setting more than maybe it would have in like the 90s if you approached it the right way. I still think this is probably better than the vast majority of their live action remakes, and that's mainly because of the cast, especially Amy Adams, James Marsden, and the songs are absolutely wonderful. The tone of this is absolutely perfect for what it's wanting to do, which is to be a very tongue-in-cheek look at the fairy tale love stories that Disney had become known for, and kind of twisting those and putting that type of storybook romance to the test in the real world. With Disenchanted, it's definitely very much in the vein of the legacy sequel of like Hocus Pocus 2, where we meet up with the main characters that we know and love from the original movie, and then we see their story in a different way. This one is directed by M. Shankman. They are Giselle and Robert are moving to suburbia, and it's not working out the way that they hoped. So Giselle hopes to use the magic of Andalasia to help with that, and we see what happens there. I do like the fact that they basically approach it from the perspective of telling this type of story in a way where how bringing the fantasy world into the real world to try and improve the real world is not as simple as it may seem. And I like that this is something for Giselle to learn, but also shows some consequences to her responsibilities. We don't really see that in Enchanted, but I think it's good that we see that in Disenchanted. The songs are not as memorable. I do think the performances are on par with the original. The songs are not as good, though. M. Shankman, as talented as he is a filmmaker, though, I'm not sure if he's... For some reason, I'm not sure if he's a very good fit for this. Maybe if it hadn't taken so long for this movie to come out, I think it might have been better. I think it might have worked a bit better. Amy Adams is definitely... I like that Amy Adams seems game for what the story has in mind for Giselle this time. And I like that it gives Idina Menzel's character... This continues an arc for Idina Menzel's character. She could have very easily been an antagonist in these movies, and she's not. And I actually kind of like that. I like that she's somebody who has accepted that what happened in the first movie happened. And she is an integral part of this still. Because of the way that she's come to care about the world that she's known. And I actually kind of like that. But otherwise, it's a decent sequel. It's one that I don't know that I will ever necessarily watch again. But because it feels too busy, it feels too, maybe we waited too long for this. And I think overall it's... I understand why they went this way, but I'm not sure if it was necessarily... It maybe like 5 years after the first Enchanted would have been better. 15 years feels like too long. Especially for the time period, the time that the movie is in with regards to Giselle and Robert's life together. I think that it kind of strains believability that they would be in this point at this point in their life together this far down the road. Maybe about 5 years afterwards might have been something more impactful, not necessarily 10, 15 years. But those are my thoughts on Enchanted and Disenchanted. Overall, I really enjoy Enchanted. Still, it's a charming movie. Rides high off of Amy Adams. Disenchanted, I actually do like a lot of what they give Amy Adams to do here. It's just that everything ultimately feels like too late for the narrative, and the songs are not as memorable. So those are my thoughts on this. Thank you very much. This is Brian Scuttle for www.sonic-cinema.com and the Sonic Cinema Podcast. Thank you very much.